All right, good morning, Poppa-D riders. Welcome back to the channel. Glad you have decided to join me today on this video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Tim Marshburn. The channel is Poppa-D Rides. It's all about long-distance motorcycle touring and all things motorcycle related. So with that being said, today I want to talk to you guys about group riding and staggered formation. So let's get into it. All right, I'm headed home from Wilmington today. I've got some other plans. I'm probably going to stop at Buckee's on the way home and pick up some pulled pork sandwich. I'll probably video that stuff and put it in here later. But right now, what I want to talk to you guys about is riding in staggered formation when you're riding with a group, and the reasons why that's important. I know a lot of guys, especially MCs, they like to ride side by side, and that's them, and that's okay for them. But my opinion is, and this is my opinion, that it is not safe to do that in a large group ride. And I say that with thousands of miles of experience riding in group rides. I've been doing long distance motorcycle touring since 2009, and since 2012 I've been going to an annual road glide rally every year. I didn't go this year because my daughter was dancing in Disney. But on the way to that road glide rally, often we will meet and have what they call a gypsy tour, where we have 20, 30, sometimes more bikes riding together across multiple states to get to the destination. And we always ride staggered, and there's reasons for that. So it's safety is the reason for that. When you ride staggered, you have time to react if something happens to the bike in front of you, so you don't run into them. And because if you hit that bike and you go down, everybody behind you potentially might go down, and now we have a pile up with a bunch of bikes down and people hurt. So let's talk about the proper way to ride staggered formation. If you look up on the Motorcycle Safety Foundation's website, staggered formation, they're going to tell you to ride staggered with the lead rider in the left lane where I'm at right now. And let me get a chain to go around this truck. So the lead rider will be in the left lane where I'm at now. And then the rider directly behind him, or immediately behind him, I should say, will be in the right lane. So if you're riding with two people staggered, if I'm in this lane, I'm the second person, and the guy leading me would be right here to my left. You know, if you look at the lane in front of us right now, there are 3 riding lanes. So this is the left riding lane. This is where the group leader would be. This is the center part of the riding lane, and sometimes you'll ride here just because there's a hazard in the road. And this is the right-hand side, or the right-hand third of the riding lane. So you divide that lane up into 3s, left, right, and middle. The leader will be in the left lane, the left riding lane, and the second rider will be in the right riding lane, and the third rider will be in the left, and the fourth rider will be in the right, and so forth. All right, so you also want to keep that as tight as you can, but keep it safe. So how do you do that, Poppa-D? Well, the way you do that is you gauge your distance from the bike in front of you. So if I'm the lead rider, the rider that's directly to my right and the second person in line should have enough room between the front of their bike and the rear of my bike, so if they need to make an aggressive or an evasive maneuver, they can move over toward my bike without hitting me. So leave enough space that you can get over. And then the third rider should leave enough space in between me that the rider to his right that's riding in that second position in front of him can come over in front if they need to. So you're riding staggered so that if needed, you can come back into a single file and back out if there's a hazard that comes up. That's important. The Motorcycle Safety Foundation, what I started to say a minute ago and I squirreled away, they'll tell you that you should keep a 2-second following distance between the bike in front of you. So if I were in a staggered formation right now behind this truck, I want to use this sign coming up. I want to ride tight enough to that truck that it's a 2-second following distance. So let's use this sign right here to the right and see how close I am. All right, so he's going to pass the sign. I'm going to count. 1001, 1002. This is about where I'd want to be for the bike in front of me. But I'm going to be 1 second from the bike that's in the opposite lane. So I hope I'm making sense. So if you are riding in staggered formation and you're the lead rider, the rider in position number 2 will be 1/1000 second, 1 second behind you in the opposite lane. The next rider will be 1 second behind that rider in the opposite lane, but 2 seconds behind you, so that you are 2 seconds behind the rider that is directly in front of you. That's what the Motorcycle Safety Foundation recommends, and that is there so it keeps you in a good formation and people can make evasive maneuvers in case something happens. You have that uh-oh moment and you have to swerve to avoid road debris, a pothole, you have an issue with your bike, whatever. You know, somebody has an issue with their bike and they slow down, the whole group's going to slow down. So that's why that's important. Let me get my thoughts together here. Also, when you're riding, it's important for you to maintain your lane. So if you're riding in that left third of the highway and you're behind in the line that's behind the leader up front, you're in the left lane like I am now, you want to maintain this lane. You don't want to be swerving all over the road and drifting and carrying on. You want to focus and stay in this lane behind that rider. By the same token, if you are in this lane and riding on the right-hand third of the lane, you want to stay focused and stay in the lane by this white line and maintain that line. Now, if there's debris and you have to swerve around it and come right back to your line. But it's important for you to maintain your line. And that'll keep the group tight. What we don't want to do is lose focus and have cars get in the group. So you need to maintain focus to keep other vehicles from getting in your group. But, you know, we'll use hand signals and stuff to communicate. That's how we should ride in a staggered formation. So the lead rider in the left lane, the second rider in the right lane, 1 second riding distance between those two riders, and then 1 second between each rider further back in the staggered formation, but 2 seconds between you and the rider that's in front of you. And you can count 1001, 1002 when they pass over a line in the road or beside of a sign, and maintain that. And once you ride in the group for a while, that will become second nature to you. You won't have to count that all the time. But what you want to make sure is there's enough room, if that rider has to come out of their lane that they're maintaining that course on and swerve over, when they swerve, they're not hitting any part of your bike. So maintain that distance behind that rider that's in the opposite lane in front of you so that they can make a maneuver if they had to and come over in front of you. And then watch the group leader if he's having you ride double file or single file, and that way you guys can do that seamlessly. Nobody has to slow down. Nobody has to speed up to change from a double file or staggered formation into a single file formation, because you're already riding with enough distance that you can merge together. But you want to keep it tight enough that no cars get in there. And that's why you maintain that 1 to 2 second rule. So 1 second, the bike that's in the opposite riding lane, 2 seconds to the bike that's in front of you. If you have questions about that, put them in the comments. I hope I've explained it well enough. And I'll try to put a clip of good staggered formation riding, if I can find it in some of my videos, right here. Hey guys, these guys just passed me a minute ago. They don't know what I'm doing, but I want to slide in here like I'm riding in the staggered formation with them. Now, see how they are? They're a little bit too far apart, but not that bad. So I'm going to try to count behind this guy in front of me now. Now, they're riding opposite. Typically, I would want the leader to be in the left lane and the other person to be in the right lane. Now, he tightened up once I got in his lane. You notice that? And see how they're keeping their lanes? That's what you need to do. See how in that curve he drifted over a little bit? If you're too tight, he might come into you. So we're going to mark when we pass this little roadkill up here. I'm gonna count, see how far behind that guy I am. 1001, 1002. So this is about where we need to be. Now I'm gonna count, see how far I'm behind the guy to my left. That was 2 seconds behind the guy to the right, in front of me. 1001, 1000. So let's try that again. And we're slowing down, so I'm pacing myself with those guys. 1001. So I'm about right behind him. So it doesn't have to be shoulder to shoulder or butt to butt, however you want to do it. This is a pretty tight staggered formation that we've got here. And you see how I'm keeping my lane and I'm kind of right behind the dude in front of me? That's how you want to do this. And if you notice, the guy to the left here, when he goes in a curve, he actually comes off of his lane into the center lane a little bit and then back over into the left riding lane. You want to maintain that riding position even in the curve through your lanes. See how he just came back into the center there? So when you're riding with people you don't know, you need to watch how they do it. I'm getting over here in case they need to get around that truck up there. I'm not officially riding with those guys. And now Waze tells that there's a cop up ahead, so I'm not going to buzz through here. But I'll get back up there with them. So I just wanted to turn it on and show you guys how this dude here was drifting a little bit. You got to stay focused and stay in your lane. So he goes from the left riding part of the lane to the center frequently. And if you're riding a large group, that's not a good thing to do. But that guy there, he won't commit to a lane. You can't do that if you're riding in a group. Now, I'm not officially riding with him, so he's at the back. He can do what he wants to do with his buddy in front of him. But I typically would maintain my line, even if I'm riding just with one other person. That way, that person knows where I'm at in the mirror all of the time. So right now, the leader in this ride, if we're riding in a pack, is in the left riding lane. That guy there in the red bike is in the center riding lane, and I'm in the right-hand side riding lane. Now, the guy in the center of the bike, he just keeps drifting. He doesn't like to ride on the line, evidently. But if you're riding in staggered formation, you're in the right line, you need to ride the rail right here on this dotted line. And if you're in the left lane, you need to ride the rail right over here along the side line or the center line. That's what you need to do and maintain that. Anyhow, so see how we are now. This is a good, nobody can get into us. If they came up, they tried to come in, they wouldn't get. This is a good pace for riding. 1001, 1002. I'm 2 seconds behind the lead rider right now. And I'm about a second behind the guy to my right. And I need that second because he keeps drifting over toward my lane. So I've got to focus on him, but I need to be in the tracks of the dude right in front of me. All right, I'm gonna stop rambling. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about, if you're riding in a large group and you're trying to change lanes, that becomes, sometimes the group can get broken up. And we're getting ready to go to Key West, this big ride with the Wood Jr. We're going to have a large number of bikes. It may not always be possible for us to change lanes all at once, especially if you have 20, 30 bikes behind you and you're the lead rider. You're trying to find a gap big enough for everybody to get around this slow vehicle that's in front of you. It's also not safe for that large number of bikes to ride in the left lane, because when you ride in the left lane, cars behind you are going to come and push you, and they're going to get tired of being behind the group, and they're going to come around the right and kind of get in there anywhere they can and potentially harm us. Watch the guys in the cages, man. They do crazy things. So if we're going to have to go around a group, if you're in a group of bikes where you have communication between you and the rear rider, and there's probably, I would say, 5 to 10 bikes, and you can ride in a tight stagger formation, it is possible sometimes to communicate with a a communication device like a headset. Hey, to the tail gunner, can you take the lane? Once he takes the lane, then the lead rider can signal for everybody to move over, and the whole group can move over and go in one group. It's possible to do that with smaller groups, and I'm saying 10 or less. Once you get more than 10, that's hard to do. So what you may have to do is, you may have to signal, I'm going to go around the car that's in front of me that's going slower, and the folks that can go around will go around and come back in to the group, okay? And once they come back in, we'll come around, we'll accelerate, the next group can come around and get right back up in that staggered formation. So once you get around the slow vehicle, you come back and you catch up to the formation and you resume the same staggered formation you were in before you went around the vehicle. But everybody went around it, and I'll describe it kind of like a slinky. Everybody went around it like a slinky back into the staggered formation. So that's kind of how you would do that. And that's on a 4-lane or a 6-lane highway. Anywhere you have multiple lanes, you're trying to go around a slower vehicle, and you don't want to maintain, that left lane is a fast lane. It's there for passing. If we're not actively passing, we should not be in it. And there again, these are my opinions. This is how I ride. This is how I've ridden thousands of miles across the country, and it works. The other thing I'll talk about is if you're on a 2-lane highway and you've got a group of motorcycles and you have to pass a slower vehicle in front of you, nothing's more aggravating than to get behind a vehicle that is going slower than you need to be going on a 2-lane highway. So, same thing will happen here. Now, you can't always see far down the road, right? What happens in that case is the lead rider will get in the left-hand lane and go around. And that lead rider, maybe the first 2 lead riders, they'll stay in that left lane. Everybody else that comes around the vehicle we're passing should pass that vehicle and go back over in the traveling lane. But the lead rider and maybe the second rider will stay in this left lane because they can see further down the road. And they'll maintain that left lane as long as they can. As long as you see them in this left lane, it's safe for you to come around that car and get in. And then once they see a traffic coming head on to them, it's time for them to get back over. They'll come back over here, and if you're behind the vehicle that's not going as fast as we want to go, that we're passing, if you're behind the vehicle that we're passing, you need to wait. As soon as the traffic clears, that rider will get back over in this left lane, and they'll maintain that lane again as long as it's safe for you to pass that vehicle. And they'll repeat that process until everybody has cleared. My Waze is telling me there's a police officer up here, so I'm going to slow down. I don't want to get a ticket. But they'll maintain that left lane until all the traffic's cleared. So let me cover that one more time. It's important. If you're passing on, let me tell them it's still there. If you're passing on a 2-lane highway and you're the lead rider, you go around the vehicle, you'll get in the left-hand lane, you'll change lanes, and you'll get over here, and that lead rider will maintain this lane as long as it's safe for the riders behind him to pass that vehicle on the right. The people that are passing on the right, let me let this car by me, he's going to push up on me, look at that. The people that are passing, as soon as they go around a vehicle that's slower, they're going to get back into the main travel lane on this side of the yellow line. And if I'm on a 2-lane road later today, I'll try to illustrate that, but obviously you can't be opposing traffic on a 2-lane road, so I'm trying to do it here. They'll get back behind the yellow line, but the lead rider is still over there. And as long as it's safe to be passing, they'll stay there. When it's not, that lead rider will come back over across the yellow line, and you'll know that it's not safe for you to pass that vehicle. Once it's safe for you to pass again, the lead rider will pull out and say, that's a signal that it's safe to come around. And that's how we can get everybody around slower traffic on a 2-lane road. The goal here is to keep us all safe and everybody to make it to our destination and have a blast. And these are why we follow these type rules when we're riding in a group in staggered formation. And these rules apply really and will work regardless of how small or how large the group is. But the larger the group, the more important it is for everyone to understand their responsibility riding in a group. The less experienced riders, typically we try to put them in the middle or toward the back. That way they can watch the rider that's in front of them and kind of gauge how they're maintaining their lane position and their speed by that person. But if you use that 2-second rule between me and the bike that's directly in front of me, that'll give us a good, safe distance that you can react to when something happens, or if something happens. And in a long ride over thousands of miles, something's going to happen. There's going to be debris. There's going to be something where you have to move the bike around. It gives the person behind you, or gives you time to react. If the person in front of you has an uh-oh moment, you have time to react to that. And it also keeps us tight enough that vehicles can't get in there. All right, so I've rambled about that long enough, but I think it's important, and I wanted to talk about it. For me, side-by-side riding is out. I just won't do it. I was a paramedic for a long time, 30 years. I was in EMS for about 35 years. I ran lots and lots of accidents, motorcycle accidents. And so I know that things can happen very quickly. We've also had some incidents happen even in our group. We were riding in a staggered formation, but we came around a corner, and it's important for you to stay focused. One of our riders was not paying attention as fast as they could, and our lead rider kind of came up on a turn quicker than they expected. So all of a sudden we're clipping along and everybody's enjoying the scenery, which is, we're going to do that, right? But everybody's enjoying the scenery, and all of a sudden we're slowing down and we're turning left on a downhill slope. But what happened was one of the less experienced riders, he was 16 years old at the time. He didn't realize we were slowing down as much. He clipped the bike in front of him, clipped the saddlebag. He actually rode up on the saddlebag and then put him down, and he slid past me as I was turning left. I couldn't get the bike to stop fast enough to go check on him. Thank the good Lord, that young man was not hurt at all. His bike was all messed up, but he wasn't hurt. Ripped a hole in his pants, it made a mark on his wallet, but he was not hurt. And that was amazing. That was a miracle that he wasn't hurt. But had we not been riding staggered and that same thing happened, a lot more bikes probably would have went down. What happened was, once he hit, everybody behind him, saw what was going on, and were able to slow down and pull over and come down and see what was going on. All of us that were in front of him, we heard it. And that's a sound you don't want to hear, is the RPMs of a bike being real high, and it's not on the ground anymore, the wheels aren't on the ground anymore, and the sound of the bike scraping the pavement as it's going past you on your right to your rear. And that's exactly what I saw and heard. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to see that. We want to be safe. All right, guys. I'm going to get on up the road here to Buckee's. I'll chime back in when I get there. Thanks for listening to me. But that's why it's important for us to ride in a staggered formation. All right. Catch you in a little while. All right, guys, I made it to Buckee's. Pushed a little tight on the fuel. When I got off the exit, it said I had 9 miles to go. Now it just says low range. Anyhow, let's get a little bit of fuel. We'll go in here and check out Buckee's. All right, guys, I stopped in Buckee's to get some water. If you've never been to one, man, you can check it out. But my wife likes the pulled pork here, and we weren't able to get any when we came back from Florida because they don't start serving until 10:30. We're at the Buckee's like at 8 something. So pick up a couple of pulled pork sandwiches. I want to head home, but check it out, man. All kinds of stuff here. I don't know what they're hollering. Man, they got about anything you can want here. So come check them out. The Buckee's don't have any place to sit, so I made me a place to sit down here. And there won't be people hanging out. So I want to sit here and eat my sandwich, at least part of it. How you ladies? Yeah. I got 2 pulled pork take home, and I'm going to try the brisket. I'll let you know how it is. I'm gonna tell you what, guys, this brisket sandwich is good. I normally can't eat beef very well anymore, but that's good. I think I'm gonna eat about half of it and head on home. I'll be full. All right, guys, we'll catch you guys when we get on to the house. Thanks for following along today. I hope me talking about riding in staggered formation made sense. If not, put it down in the comments and I'll try to make a clearer video about it. Anyhow, I'll catch you guys in a little while. All right, guys, I'm just about back home. I'm coming through Uptown, as they call it, Charlotte. Just want to circle around that and take I-85 down to the house. But I wanted to come on here and say thank you for riding along with me today. Man, if you enjoy this kind of content, you got anything out of the video, let me know in a comment, and please be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be aware whenever I put up new content. And I am trying to grow the channel, so I appreciate you guys if you do that. I think today's video will turn out well. I hope we get home, get it all put together. But, you know, we were talking about staggered riding and why that's important for safety when you're riding in a group. So, let me know what you think. And guys, as always, thank you for riding along with me. Be blessed. Have a great day. And I'll catch you guys later on.